The World Health Organization's Regional Director for Africa, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, has called on governments on the continent to collaborate with traditional health practitioners to improve the health and well-being of Africa's people. Moeti's words come as the continent this week marks African Traditional Medicine Week and African Traditional Medicine Day today.
Now, the point of the week has been to celebrate and recognize African traditional medicine and the impact of it on our societies. According to the WHO, about 80% of the continent's population relies on traditional medicine for their basic health needs.
The theme this year is Progress Towards Achieving Universal Health Coverage in Africa, intended to reflect on the progress of including African traditional medicine in national health systems. Joining us this morning to discuss indigenous herbalism is Gogo Manzi Mlambo from the Traditional Health Practitioners Council. Good morning, Gogo. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Good morning to everyone. How are you guys doing this morning?
We're very well, thank you. Hope you're well too. Now, Gogo, let's get into it. Let's talk about, first of all, how is the reaction and the acceptance of traditional and organic medicine in Africa?
I'd say throughout the years, the pattern has changed. We're looking at the fact that it wasn't well welcomed due to religious beliefs, also as well as the health systems not really welcoming traditional medicines into, the health systems. But we should also put in mind that Western medical practices and systems are in place today because of colonization, I would say, and they have served our people well, but also they have shut out a lot of indigenous medicine knowledge to our people as well.
Well, I understand that a lot of people, across the continent, in different countries, even here in Nigeria, rely on traditional and organic medicine for treatment. Why would you say it still has not been formally included in, our national health systems? And are there certain stereotypes against it that maybe have held it back?
Well, I'll give an example as to today. Yes, of course, medical practitioners will not always recommend using indigenous medicines in terms of if a person has a choice between the two, but then if you do go to a medical practitioner, you will not get a recommendation to go to a traditional healer, whereas a traditional healer would give you the recommendation to please do see a medical doctor or a medical officer for this condition. Whereas we do need each other. The two types of practices do need each other at this point.
Okay, can they both intermarry? You've mentioned that the two practices need each other, but there are certain conversations that we've heard being thrown around. Sometimes it's being said that once you started with Western medicine, it's best to complete with medicine. Once you started with traditional, it's best to complete with traditional and not to mix both. So can you please quickly shed some light on that, whilst letting us know how the South African government has fared, or has it included African traditional medicine in its national health system?
Well, I do think it can intermarry because there are conditions whereas people do use indigenous medicines, and there are situations which do need Western medicine. And we find people looking at supplements that are herbal at this point, which is traditional medicine, while using Western medicine. At this point, it does help. Or you find our organic way of using medicines in the indigenous medical systems, whereas we go and we dig up our own roots, we process our own meds, we know how to process them, and we know what it's for at this point. Whereas you find certain drugs can do certain harm to the body at some point as well. But also we rely also in detoxing the body in order to heal it. As for the South African government on how it's welcomed or initiated Western medicine and also integrating it with indigenous medicine or traditional healing, there's a few things that, or a few initiatives that they've taken. There's like, they've managed to take a directorate to establish a working relationship between traditional medicine within the Department of Health at this point, where there's ministerial task teams on new regulatory authorities that has made proposal to register or on the registration of traditional medical practitioners to start working in the Department of Health. And also there's been funding that has come out or come about for the development of African traditional medicines as well.
All right, I want to talk about the Traditional Health Practitioners Council. How far has your body or that body been able to lobby government for the rights of traditional healers? And I also, if you can, also help us be clear exactly on what exactly is traditional medicine, because some people would be pointing, would describe it as diabolic. All right, so can we be clear exactly what it is?
Yes, yes. I understand. Okay. Let me start with your last question, and then I'll continue about what the council has done. Traditional medicine at this point, a lot of people mistaken it for a lot of things. They call it, there's a vast difference between traditional medicine, certain craft or rituals of some sort. The medicinal part is where we use roots and teachings of the old or teachings of the elders in terms of using herbs to heal certain things. It's not just certain diseases as well as, but also conditions. We're talking about your mental health conditions, whereas people are counseled. It's also part of the practice itself. And yes, it's been demonized for quite a long time, and it's understandable as to how it got demonized. We were talking about African countries are widely known for colonization, and also in that there's been organized religion. And with organized religion, there's a certain mindset that is put to people or a way of thinking. So if once a certain way of doing things is demonized, then yes, people think it's diabolical. But then again, let's look at pharmaceuticals. They take the same plants that we use to heal people to actually generate medicine, Western medicine. So those are the challenges that we've come about with people and actually having people understand what traditional medicine is as well, or how it comes about being processed.
All right.
Also,
no, go ahead, please. You're about to answer the other part of the question.
Oh yes, I'm about to answer that. Sorry. As for our council, we are promoting to push and maintain appropriate ethical professional standards that are required from traditional health practitioners, and also to protect the public figure or people who use traditional medicine as well. And for them to actually know, we're promoting and we're encouraging the education and training of traditional practitioners as well, and also the contact between the various initiation schools or traditional initiation schools or traditional schools or traditional healing schools or trainers, so that there's a rather common knowledge of some of the ways of healing that are acceptable in the health sector at this point for disease control.
All right, thank you very much. On a final note, let's ask you, considering the modern societies and the modern times that we live in, do you think that traditional healers are still appreciated in the preservation of our culture?
Traditional healers, I'd say this. One thing about traditional healers is if all over the world, wherever you are in the world, you find that not many of them grow up and say, I want to be a traditional healer, but we are known for having a calling to actually be a healer at this point. Healing is a calling, and it's also a highly spiritual sort of, I won't say industry because that sounds so wrong, but it's also a very highly spiritual type of, won't be not a job, but
a practice.
A practice. So I feel like the world is awakening to see traditional healing come to its peak or come to life, whereas people have accepted or have been open to what our elders have taught us before. And also, one thing about traditional healing that people don't really understand is that as much as there are people out there who are not really sure about what they are when they are traditional healers or where they stand in the world, but then it's a practice that is needed, not just to heal the body, but to heal souls, to heal the mind, to heal one's spirit as well.
All right. We're certain that there are many layers to this conversation. Dr. Gogo, thank you so much for joining us on the conversation this morning. We hope you enjoy celebrating African Traditional Day and African Traditional Week.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.